occurs to everyone is the question, what of the peacetime Navy? What of the Navy after the war? To assure an ordered, peaceful world, the United States will undertake 3 commitments in the international sphere, and sea power is necessary to implement all 3. Many men have discussed the question, including Walter Lippmann, who has said,
"A foreign policy consists in bringing into balance the nation's commitments and the nation's power. The constant preoccupation of the true statesman is to achieve and maintain this balance. Having determined the foreign commitments which are vitally necessary to his people, he will never rest until he has mustered the force to cover them."
To balance our commitments and our power. As they affect the Navy, what are our commitments? Commitment 1. The American Republic should consider use of armed force to prevent or repel aggression. By the Act of Chapultepec, the United States may obligate itself in peace as in war to join in suppressing aggression anywhere in the Western Hemisphere. Because we are the principal naval power in this area, we must assume major responsibility for any naval fulfillment of that pledge. Commitment 2. At San Francisco, an international force was proposed for combined enforcement action if required.
Well, there's a time for making plans, and there's a time for action. The time for action is here now.
But the responsibility for large portions of the world, the Western Atlantic and the Pacific north of the equator, will not be that of any great power so much as the United States itself. Commitment 3 is our fundamental and historic obligation, the defense of the United States and of the sea approaches to our homeland. What then are the plans of the post-war Navy to represent you, the American people, in the fulfillment of these commitments? The peacetime Navy will consist of an active force and forces in reserve. It is this reserve force which concerns us here. Consider the importance of reserves with regard to surface forces, including submarines. Recall the importance of reserve strength in the Battle for Guadalcanal. In this campaign, we hit the island with the superlative 1st Marines and maintained air cover. But the Jap Navy, blasting its way through our defenses, was able to restore by night what we destroyed by day. There was no way to halt its almost nightly charges down from Bougainville as long as the enemy controlled the surface lines of communications. The Tokyo Express was christened here. Not until huge trained reserves of ships and men could be brought to bear in the battles of October and November 1942 could the victory be clinched. Next, consider the importance of reserves of air power. Remember the campaign along the northwestern coast of New Guinea in April 1944, when plans were approved to bypass enemy forces in the Hansa Bay and Wewak areas to seize Hollandia, 200-odd miles west. First, we had to neutralize the Western Carolines, from which the Japs could have attacked our landing forces or our new bases in the Admiralties. For 3 days, a fast carrier task force, commanded by Admiral Raymond Spruance, launched its planes to strike at shipping and airfields in the Palau Group, at Yap, at Ulithi, and Woliai. There was no further interference from the Western Carolines, and when General MacArthur's troops hit the beach at Itapi at Hollandia, similar carrier-based flights paved the way and gave close cover for the landing. Here was naval air power, amazing forces trained and assembled from the reserves and active forces, peeling off the targets just as it did in every advance of the Pacific War. It is clear then that the nation needs a vital naval reserve for the future preservation of our sea and air power. The major aim and purpose of the new Naval Reserve for volunteer civilians is to reassemble some of the men who already possess the skills needed by our modern fleet to add young members to this veteran group, to provide modern instruction in today's fast-moving technical developments for a great many of them, and to keep alive the members and the Navy's mutual interest and contacts. To attract members of the highest caliber, both veterans and non-veterans, the Naval Reserve offers many advantages, privileges, and opportunities. The Naval Reservist may receive free training in a wide variety of trades and skills. He may receive this training at home or through personal participation in Naval Reserve groups in his community. The reservist may keep up with technical developments concerning his business or trade. Again, through home study or personal participation, he can improve his skill or knowledge in his chosen business, if such is among the many courses offered. He may broaden his education through travel and practical experience, especially during his 2-week annual cruise or training period, either afloat or ashore, if he can qualify and if facilities permit. He may earn while he learns. Reservists may draw pay for attending evening meetings once a week and for taking part in the 2-week cruises or shore station training periods. He may advance and be promoted in the Naval Reserve with corresponding increases in pay. Time spent in the Naval Reserve counts toward the Navy's raises of 5% on base pay for every 3 years' service. The reservist improves his social standing and broadens his social and business contacts. He is a member of a service with splendid traditions. He is a part of an organization which offers him social and recreational advantages. By building himself physically and mentally, he becomes a part of the strong young manhood which the nation and the world depends on in the years ahead. For ex-Navy men, there are special advantages. The ex-enlisted man regains his Navy rate held at the time of discharge and can advance in rating. Through the Naval Reserve, he may regain and retain contacts with his former shipmates. 160 members of the Naval Reserve between the ages of 17 and 20 who meet the qualifications required by the Navy may be appointed by the President annually to the United States Naval Academy. Naval Reserve activities throughout the nation are being equipped to provide instruction in the naval aspects of a variety of trades, including aviation specialties, communications, electronics, welding, machinists, photography, clerical and personnel work, and radio. All this activity is available to the Naval Reservist in surface, air, electronics, and subsurface activities. To the individual, the Naval Reserve offers opportunities for self-improvement and progress. At the same time, it is a pillar of support to this nation's responsibility for establishing an orderly basis for a world at peace. This combination of active and reserve naval forces will assure us superiority in the Western Atlantic and anywhere in the Pacific, including the approaches thereto. It will assure us naval strength in these areas, which is superior to the forces of any single power or any combination of hostile forces. Now you're looking down at this peacetime fleet, active in reserve, adequately manned with a regular Navy active complement, with ships and manpower in reserve, supplemented by naval air power, the greatest in the world, consisting of carriers and escort carriers, supplied with carrier-based aircraft, patrol planes flown for the fleet air wing, and land-based aircraft, training and utility planes, together with the latest developments in aircraft that research and science are constantly developing. With them, we not only protect ourselves together with our interest overseas, but at the same time fulfill the obligations we shall undertake in the coming partnership for world security. This, then, is the post-war Navy's plans for the future, particularly with regard to the United States Naval Reserve, a post-war activity of usefulness and high mission to which an American can dedicate his efforts with honor and satisfaction.